Okay, all right there. Slight delay, but nothing too serious. How is the audio? Everything should be okay, I hope. But yeah, if anyone can give me a little feedback, it'd be much appreciated. So yeah, we've got it's the last day of July. So that means it's the final week of July music. However, as I kind of put in the description, there was a flurry of excellent. Thank you. There was a flurry of releases that came out at the tail end of the month here, at the last few days, or at least I became aware of them. So it is possible that I will kind of break one of my, not obviously airtight rules, but perhaps the first week of August we'll talk a little bit about some of the albums that I did not get around to. However, as it is, we are just going to launch right into it. We have, I think, 13. We have 13 releases. We're going to start out with rock and metal. We have 4 there. We have 1 electronic release, and then we have 4 in rap and hip hop, and then we have 4 in pop and indie. That's how it's going to shake out this week. I am going to be pretty honest. The rock and metal category and the electronic with only 1 release were kind of weak, all things considered. I mean, obviously there were still some fine releases, but nothing I think that like in the long term is going to be things that we'll be talking about. But regardless, we'll get around to that here. So let's just go ahead and get ourselves started here. The first album we're going to talk about today is the album Человек, человеку, товар. Or I don't know how that translates exactly. Tовар is like a product. So each man is another's product or something like that. The group is Абсолютный Ресурс. Абсолютный Ресурс. My tongue is still kind of jacked. So, but yeah, this is a long-running hardcore punk outfit. They do have a little bit of a thrash edge to them. Out of St. Petersburg. Musically, it is about what you would expect. They have the album artwork that fits right within that sort of like punk thrash sort of energy. It's fast, it's tight, and it's the type of band that you would expect to find playing some packed, stinky basement show in St. Petersburg. So I'm just going to kind of jump into it. I'm actually going to start with the last 2 tracks. I think those are pretty... Because this one is like got more of the thrash edge, in my opinion. The lyrics are, or not the lyrics, the vocals in general are not the best, but and here we got more of the punk energy. I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time with it. It's pretty straightforward. It is hardcore punk. It's got a bit of thrash edge. But yeah, the group there is Абсолютный Ресурс. And the album is Человек, человеку, товар. Pretty straightforward there. Not anything out of the ordinary there. All right. Up next, we have a very short album, if you will. Some might call it an EP. The group is the Rite, and the album is Pламя, новой, зари. This is hardcore. It's pretty by the books. Although there is a pretty fat streak of melodicism running through the tracks here, from ornamental flares thrown in by the guitars to even short little solos from time to time. As with the last album, the vocals aren't perfect, but it's still, overall an enjoyable listen if you are into hardcore. If you're not into hardcore, then yeah, obviously. Jump ahead. Like the basic hardcore sound, right? Like chugging riffs. Again, the vocals, like they're close. Not really sure what needs to change with the vocals to make them better, like more appropriate for the sound, maybe a little bit gruffer, but slow, chuggy, hardcore. But again, here we have that kind of like melodicism. So again, like I said, it's pretty by the books when it comes to hardcore, but there are those types of elements in there that kind of set it apart a little bit. Put it a little more to, or a little bit closer to traditional metal. Again, you get the idea. If you're into that sort of sound, then you've probably understood by now whether or not it's for you. So yeah, the album Pламя, новой, зари, and the album or the group is the Rite. I believe they're out of Smolensk, but I don't remember exactly. So I'm just gonna kind of move through here. We're actually getting into some stuff that I think is a little bit more interesting now. This is VAALM, I think is how that's pronounced. Propal, убить is the EP here. 3 black metal tracks that kind of aren't afraid to stray into the blackened death territory. This EP has a bit of a chill, even though we are in the middle of the summer now, but not in a refreshing way. The songs here are all connected to the images of Gennady Dobrov, who, if you're not sure who that is, Google it. Gennady Dobrov. He drew pictures of people who survived the war, like with all their disfigurements and stuff like that. He illustrated the fates of the people involved a lot of times in the winter war between Russia and Finland, or Soviet Union and Finland, and just in general the dangers of winter and how frostbite and things like that literally eat away at people. And if you don't know all of that, because honestly the lyrics are pretty hard to make out, and if you don't go hunting down the press releases for these albums, you wouldn't know all of that. Then you would probably just enjoy like this musically, because it rocks pretty hard. It slams. There is an intro, obviously. another little taste here. So even without all of the back information about what this little EP is all focused on and the idea behind it, goes pretty hard, and it's an enjoyable set of 3 songs here. Again, if you're into that black metal sound. Even a little bit more of that maybe traditional metal sound again. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. That is the EP Propal, ubit, and the artist is VAALM. So yeah, pretty sure St. Petersburg would be my guess at the very least. And the last one we have here is actually not technically a Russian group. It's a group out of Belarus, out of Minsk. I'm pretty sure, but maybe not exactly. It's just they're from Belarus. They do new metal, a lot of electronic elements in there. And the vocals feel like they're very much out of the late 1990s. I don't know. It's as absurd as the album artwork and kind of as, I don't know, like it's obviously going kind of for a throwback sound, and it looks like something ripped out of the late 90s, at least in terms of the style and stuff. I'm not gonna lie. The Linkin Park cover, I'm not really sure how I feel about a new metal Linkin Park cover, because Linkin Park was already kind of new metal. But anyway, musically it reminded me, it says post-hardcore. It's definitely not post-hardcore. It reminds me quite a bit of Spine Shank, for those of you who are familiar with that. And then some of the recent Bring Me the Horizon EPs, specifically like the, post-human EPs. But I'm just going to jump into it and you'll figure it out. Like, these guys feel like they should be doing German industrial music or something, but we get this instead. And like, I don't know, like I said, I enjoyed this. I had fun with it. Like, symphonic metal elements in there. But then that's sort of like, there's a lot of Bring Me the Horizon here. Obviously English lyrics all the way through, so like if that is important, then yeah, you got that there. It's new metal. So, yeah, I mean, I'll play one last track here because I really, honestly, did have a good time with this album. It's actually an album I was going to talk about last week. I just didn't get around to it. Actually sitting down and getting all the way through it. But if you enjoy this sound, you should really check out Bring Me the Horizons. The hell was the name of their last? Which one? Post-Human Survival Horror was the one that I'm thinking of. But yeah. So it's like even got the kind of pop metal energy in there too, which is like a, I don't know. Kind of a mix of all of the popular metal sounds for the last like 2 decades. And there's a lot of guests on this. I have no idea who any of these people are, obviously. So yeah, I didn't mention at the start. The name of the album is Ravecore, and the artist out of the trio out of Belarus is Main-De-Gloire. I don't know exactly how that's pronounced. I'm assuming it's supposed to be like kind of French, but Main-De-Gloire. Oh, got some people there in the chat. End of story. Howdy, howdy. Good to see you there. Dano Mike, howdy as well. But yeah, so if nu metal is kind of your thing, or you want something that's a little bit more, I guess, it's heavier but a little more popish, then yeah, Ravecore here by Main-De-Gloire is going to be a good choice. But anyway, yeah, it was kind of a mixed week with metal releases. There were some other ones, but Ravecore, of course, yeah, they had to have the special. It's like using the V instead of a U with black metal, like for true cult, right? With it's TRVECVLT. Yeah. It's just I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Moving on, we have one electronic release this week. It's actually from 2 weeks ago or a week ago or whatever. I should have talked about it last week. I just didn't get around to it. This is the Dawless, and I'm going to completely butcher the pronunciation of this album title because it is French. Le monde, nous, which roughly translates to the world is ours. This is a duo we have rapper Ramil Gadim from the group Loud and the producer Sergey Gold. This is actually their third LP together as the Dawless. And this album is inspired by a film I had never heard of before. It's a cult French film called La Haine, or Hate, Nенависть in Russian. It was released actually 30 years ago. That's, I think, part of the reason that they're doing it. It's about, as far as I understand, it's about like migrant youths in the suburbs of Paris and kind of like exploring that. So yeah, musically, this is all about kind of urban dance music, especially that older sound from the 90s. We've got breakbeat, acid house, French house, Eurotrance, just electro music in here too. And all throughout it, there is that sort of sense of big city aggression throughout the whole length of the album too. A lot of guests on it too. Cassetta, who I have talked about in weeks past, I think in July here. Shows up on the album, but I'm just gonna bop in, and I mean you'll recognize the sound if you've listened to electronic music anytime in the last 30 years. If it weren't for the vocals, I feel like some of these tracks could theoretically have ended up on, like, say, for example, the Matrix soundtrack. I really do enjoy the album artwork, though. I think it's a very good, like, I don't know if it's like an homage to something connected to the film. That very might well be the case, but oh yeah. The whole theme of migrant youth or just disenfranchised youth in general is always a popular. It's popular source material for especially young filmmakers. Well, it doesn't have to be a migrant either. Like I remember like the movie Kids, which focused on the life of like urban kids in New York City in the 90s also, and like kind of all the kind of like crazy stuff that they were getting into. So like it does bounce around between those old styles. So probably should mention it too. There's a lot of the UK singing type sound in here as well. Right, 3 tracks, 3 clearly different styles, but they're all throwback, right? And as far as I remember from the interview I was reading about this, the music was recorded with like old analog technology, so it is like it's not like emulated on a computer. They actually hunted down the source instruments that you would have used for this.
Excuse me.
I think probably the best quote I saw about this was somebody was saying how there was a club here in Moscow that was like one of the big electronic places, Arma. It was Moscow, right? I'm not hallucinating that. I almost positive it was Moscow. Arma was, yeah, it was Moscow. And somebody was just like, yeah, this is the sound of Arma from like, I don't know, almost 10 years ago at this point in time. But it's a throwback. So that's it. That is, I mean, like, this is probably my favorite track on the whole thing. I don't know, it's like the most accessible, if you will. Just love this spacious little section right here. For dropping back into that sort of like really unrelenting bass. So yeah, that's the only electronic release I have to share this week. The album is Le Monde, nous. Forgive my French. And the group is the Dawless, which, again, a name that I'm not really quite sure what they want to say with that. But anyway, if you want like an old school, late 90s throwback vibe, this is a good one to go with. And a lot of guests on it. Moving into rap and hip hop, we have a kind of a mixed week here. Yeah, definitely a mixed week. So I'm guessing that this is going to... the first release, this EP that we have here, is the Infinity EP by White Ked. That's how I'm going to pronounce it, because it's an E as far as I'm concerned, not an I, so White Ked. I'm guessing this qualifies as SoundCloud rap, but it's a bit different from the archive core, which I've been running into more and more. As the distortion on the backing track is a bit more controlled, instead of just like really hardcore distortion, the accompanying keyboards on these tracks feel like they're ripped out of an NES game, like an old forgotten Nintendo game. That is pretty common in archive core, but it kind of feels like this is and again, if you're not familiar with archive core, this is a new subgenre of rap that seems to be quickly developing here in the Russian rap underground, which uses a lot of heavy bass distortion, a lot of chiptune sounding keyboards, and auto-tune depending on the artist. Fortuna 812 is a pretty good example of this, as well as was it like Fallen 777 Angel? They've all got ridiculous names because of SoundCloud. God damn it. But yeah, it's the chiptune adjacent sound that had me kind of coming back to this album again and again. It's musically fresh. It's kind of familiar. And this is kind of odd because as far as the rapping go, the kid, because this is a kid, I'm just going to show, like, I hate doing this because, like, it's not really important, but, like, okay, you've got a bunch of, it's like, you got your month's salary. Cool. Like, this is a kid. I don't know. I mean, how old is... He's got tattoos, sure. So, like, maybe we'll say 19 or 20. I don't know. Not old at all. And so I was kind of expecting it to be superficial when I looked at the artist originally. But the lyrics, I mean, to be fair, a lot of slang. But there's also a lot of references in the text that I actually had to go to Google and check from time to time. It's not really... He's not really a slouch in any sense. I'm just going to go ahead and play a little bit. Like, I wasn't sure how I felt about this sound when I first encountered it earlier this year, and then I've been seeing more and more of it, and it has started to grow on me. Like, it shouldn't work, but it kind of does. And I love chiptune, so. But like I said here, the distortion is a little bit more reserved. And in general, the thing I think I'm kind of enjoying about the archive core sound that is growing here is it's not also a tattoo reference. Like, let's be real. Like, it's kind of dance music also, but it's neither rap, it's neither dance. Like, it's just, I don't know, screwing around with both genres. Like, I don't know. So, I mean, obviously it's not like the most groundbreaking lyricism ever, but at the same time. So yeah, I don't know. Musically there's something there. Like, this whole archive core, it's like an old 8-bit video game on an acid trip is kind of what it sounds like. And not to say that hasn't been done before, but the fact that they've taken that sound and then just were like, but what if we rapped with that? I kind of, like, it's just such a ridiculous concept, but that's the great thing. Like, and that's what's with when people start pushing things with music, it's like when they start slapping things together that maybe shouldn't, or that, like, we wouldn't typically think of. So, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about that here because, so that was a White Kid, and it was the Infinity EP. We're going to have a little bit more of that. So, next up we have Josodo. This is the Love and Smoke Volume 2 EP. Again, not exactly rap, but it's just like mixing up. This is kind of as much rap as it is hyper pop and electronic music. It's just a little bit of everything. It's energetic, it's catchy, it's kind of familiar. The thing I like too with this Josodo guy here is another young artist, but he does a good job of mixing English lyrics into his Russian as well, which I think is one of those things that like a lot of Russian rappers will use English words and phrases, but it feels forced. And I always appreciate it when I can hear an artist who has a pretty solid understanding of English, right? Obviously they know Russian well, but like when they understand English well enough where they can kind of weave the two of them together to jump back and forth as necessary. So, and yeah, I mean, like at times, to be fair, like the lyrics here are pretty cringe at times. But yeah.
Открыл глаза, новый левел. Мне надо туда, где еще не был. Фон, black and yellow. Водила, вези меня, в чем дело. Мои деньги, колон, я начал диалог. Как дела, школа, я преподал всем урок. У меня столько начинается. И по этой причине она за меня цепляется. Стоп, снято. Бэйби, я буду краток. Куча сучек, тачек, галку, прядок. Бэйби, я буду краток. Спросишь, как дела, да все порядок. В твоем кошельке пусто, куда ты все спрятал. В карманах капуст собрал ее с грядок. На моем пути было много непонятных. Сейчас я сиял так ярко.
Like, this is not the archive chord that we were just listening to. That heavy distortion is not ever present. There is still some distortion, but like it's much cleaner. Like it's definitely more hyper pop, electronic, like dance electronic oriented. And it's like hyperactive. And like you would be forgiven if you heard this and didn't know it was a rap album, at least until the rapping starts, because like it doesn't necessarily feel like it. So, I mean, I guess the one thing I do enjoy about this release and the last one is it's kind of like, I don't expect SoundCloud rappers to ever necessarily become anything major, but as we have seen with some artists this year, like again, Fortuna 812, that transition can happen, and I don't know, like, there are still, it's not just the new generation trying to repeat stuff that was done 20 or 30 years ago. Like, there are still people out there playing around with new sounds and like attempting to do something that hasn't been done before. So yeah, that is the Love and Smoke Volume 2 EP, and the artist is Josodo. That's at least how I'm pronouncing it. So yes, very kind of futuristic rap, but much different from the futuristic rap of Deltron 3030, that's for sure. Okay, and then we do have to get back to Archive Core, and yeah, we got to talk about this. So this is the album Skinhead, and the artist is Huzzy Beat. So let's just get this out of the way. This is like, there's a shock rock sort of aspect to this. There's an, or perhaps shock rock's not the right word, like an edgelord aspect to this artist. I'm not going to pretend that the lyrics aren't overly vulgar or that they're especially deep most of the time, but I think that's actually part of the idea here, in the same way that a lot of edgelord artists or like shock rockers have their goal has been to produce music, but also to kind of rile up the public in some sort of way. Obviously, if you look at some of the titles of tracks and stuff like that, that's definitely, like, let's be real. There's a track here, Morgue FM, which is all about the prettiest girl in the morgue. Like, it's supposed to be schlocky, and it's supposed to be kind of shocky for obvious reasons. So, but yeah, again, the artist has a surprisingly deep level of references in his lyrics. But I just have to go, like, coming back to the archive core thing, right? As I mentioned it before, when I first stumbled onto it earlier this year, I kind of thought it was going to be irritating. But as I've been going through a number of these releases kind of week after week now, what I think is interesting is that the archive core sound is maturing incredibly fast for something that is ostensibly a SoundCloud type of rap. And as it has matured over the last half year, which is incredibly fast in music standards, the sound has kind of gelled into something that already has specific rules. It can kind of push you away with the distortion and the rapping, depending on the artist. But it's the other elements of the music that will hook you in there. So, I don't know. I'm kind of all about this sound right now. I know it's kind of repetitive, but I don't know how long it's going to stick around, or if it's going to evolve into something else and slightly different that has a little bit more of a lasting power. Like, this is that shock rock. Like, obviously, if you don't understand the lyrics, then it's kind of just musically doing its thing, but I should probably mention too, Huzzy B is a producer, so that's one of the reasons that, at least musically, this is like enjoyable all the way through from a musical point of view. Like, it even has album artwork, which I think is intentionally supposed to look like something from the like late 2000s, early 2010s, right? Like one of those Waka Flocka Flame mixtape album artworks.
Я новый Рома Желоб, сдохнул молодым, они меня запомнят. Убей всех идолов, я новая икона. Я как Рома Пламя, слил суку как дил, блин. Диска носит мяу, мяу, свои сумки от Миу. Дауру примерки твои челки в разных городах. Парящись, если я в каблах рик, то я не пидор. Высоко пиздец, я кранк, я готов на рик и банк. Чел, найди себе стилиста, твой звук полная хуйня.
So it is all over the place, I get that, but it is surprisingly deep. I'm just gonna, like, I listened to this more times than I would probably care to share.
What's going on in your head? Экс-последний инструмент, ушашали эксиеры. Тебе нравится эффект, но больше нравится процент. Королева туса, каждый знает, что у тебя есть. Call me when you sober, моя девочка, you wanna send. По тебе все.
So yeah, that is the album Skinhead. Huzzy B is the artist there. Again, I realize that that's not for everybody, but it's kind of hard to ignore what's happening here, because Russian rap is a special thing. I'm not really keyed into what's happening in rap in the States right now. So it's possible in the last 2 years things have changed a lot. I don't think so. But here you have a lot of rappers who are more old school. You have a group of them who are just trying to bite the style of Western rappers and doing it piss poorly. And obviously they have huge fan bases here, but in my opinion, they suck horribly. And then you have this, like the underground sound. I understand the underground sound is alive and well in the States too, but I feel like probably what's happening here in Russia does differ a little bit from the underground rap and hip hop sound in the States. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe archive core is a thing there too, but I, when looking online, didn't see anything about it. But that's not the only rap sound that we had this week. So I got to talk about the Moscow tape by Whole Lotta Swag. Now, Whole Lotta Swag this is actually his second release for the year. The artist out of Tambov released probably one of the better rap albums from the first quarter of this year. He's kind of slowly making a name for himself, and this mixtape right here explores his life after moving to the capital, right? The production is still fantastic on this album. Rapping is that classic style. It's just a perfect mix of newer sounds, right? So like there are some newer elements to the sound. It's not just like straight up old school rap, but the delivery is that classic sound. So like the newer elements are more in the beats, to be fair.
Папа хочет приключений, особенно когда родной город тебя не греет. Сколько тут таких, кто посходил с ума от денег, утонув в канителе, как в инстаграмных коктейлях. Наверное, проще никому не верить. Наверное, проще никому не верить. Наверное, проще никому не верить.
I love his delivery too, like that. Not to say that it's monotone or flat, but it feels jaded somehow.
Кажется, что моя жизнь уже давно неправда. Застрял между пин-кодами разными городами. Стучу как какая баунси, как во Вьетнаме. Я не дружу с собой и постоянно биполярен. Сука, узкие круги, а тут широко популярен. Разъебу твой город, если мне выделят.
Like, Whole Lotta Swag is not a new name per se. He's been releasing music for a few years now, but I feel like this is kind of his year. I mean, like, come on, Tambov, out of nowhere. So we got the auto tune in there, so it's not like straight up strictly classical hip hop and rap.
Бары ушли в тираж, куришь поймал. Мы не то чтобы работали, выполняю планы, все мои пацаны роботы, деньги теперь хлопоты.
I think one of the reasons too that Whole Lotta Swag is gaining popularity and like starting to make a name for himself very quickly is his storytelling is very good. Like, again, I hate to bring up Friendly Thug, but like he does the friendly thug thing, but like better, with more charisma and more style. So if this is the first you've heard of Whole Lot of Swag, then go and check out No Type, his other album from earlier this year. This album, very good. So yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed Whole Lot of Swag's No Type album when it came out earlier this year. The fact that he turned around and dropped it is like the tracks are all quite short, to be real. It's a little over 20 minutes long, but basically a mixtape. Just a few months later, while he is, I don't know if he's on tour right now, but regardless, while he's kind of getting larger. So I don't know, who knows, maybe we'll see another release from Whole Lot of Swag before the end of the year. Stranger things have happened, but yeah, that is the Moscow tape. And if you're looking for just like straight up really good Russian rap, this is a very good one. And like I said, if you haven't heard his No Type album, then go check that out as well. But yeah, we are getting into pop and indie because it was an interesting week. We're going to start off with a joint effort here, Joseph and Basic Boy. We have two artists out of Ufa. This is the Штат Садов EP. Two artists out of Ufa, one of which, right, Basic Boy released an absolute gem of an album, Никто нигде, a few months ago, maybe in April, maybe in May, I don't remember exactly. And anyway, the two of these artists teamed up to bring us their take on what I guess last summer evidently was Brat Summer, thanks to Charlie XCX. And I've seen memes and things like that because of Oasis reunion and Coldplay, but evidently people are joking that this is the Britpop summer. And Joseph and Basic Boy here are giving us their take on the Britpop summer of 2025, I guess. The sound is a modern take on that indie pop and rock of the late 90s, early 2000s. In an interview, the artists mentioned that they had been listening to a lot of Travis and Keane, The Verve, Gorillaz, Oasis, and then other artists as well when they were in the process of recording this album. You can actually hear that, obviously, quite a bit. But there are other influences that you can hear on this album, too, aside from those from the UK. Bonus points, just going to throw this out there, bonus points for having Yearcat appear on the third track here. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lovely EP. Feels perfect for late summer. Like, very upbeat, very bright and bouncy. The piano definitely helps a lot on that first track. Like, those bouncy piano chords always kind of have like a throwback vibe.
оставлю позади себя то, что подсунет память. Останься впереди, я уже рядом нагоняю. Только не исчезни в солнце, я тебя не потеряю в этот раз. По песку колеса полный газ.
Like, it's not the best, or it's not the maybe like the perfect reference, but this also feels like something we all remember the song Somebody That Used to Know, right? Gautier, or however you pronounce his name. But if you actually sat down and listened to that album from 15 years ago at this point in time, like, this feels like it could have easily come right off of that. So I don't know exactly how to explain it, but again, like, if you're familiar with that older indie pop rock sound, then especially the more UK inclined variant, then there's something here. Yeah, I don't know. Again, perfect. Just like a little kiss of summer on this little EP here. So I don't know. I really enjoyed that. That is Joseph and Basic Boy, and the EP is Штат Садов. Садов. Yeah. I always get mixed up on the udarenia, but really good one. But let's move on. The next album is Тревожный тип привязанности, and the artist is Mirèle, or Mirèle. I don't know exactly how the name is pronounced because that's not her real name. This is an artist who originally was the second half, or the other half, of the group nous, who I have talked about here on the channel, I think twice so far this year. And she, a few years ago, set off and started making her own music. I'll be completely honest. She released an album last year, Mrak Privyet. I was not a huge fan of this album. I know a lot of people really enjoyed it. It just didn't do it for me. Kasichki, right? She's been doing it for a while, kind of on her own. But this is a different album, and it kind of keeps in line with the trend that we've seen in July, where it's kind of like a mixtape, where we have an artist who invites a bunch of their friends, because these are all songs that feature relatively large name artists in the Russian kind of indie scene, or rap scene as well. Slava KPSS and Rudolf Strausov is there. They are there as well. I've definitely seen some people who are disappointed by this release. They're just not loving it as much as, like I said, her album last year, Mrak Privyet, or Kasichki. But like I said, I was not a huge fan of those albums. And so for me, what I got with this is that this feels like it's just a placeholder for the artist, right? It's something that she got a bunch of friends together, and this was a release that she could use just to release something while she's working on her next sound, right? Like while she's figuring out where she wants to go next as an artist. And like I said, while I wasn't a huge fan of the release last year, the kaleidoscope aspect of this one, where Mirèle acts as a spindle around which the guests and styles kind of shift and rearrange, makes it a lot easier to jump into and out of this album. It's refreshing in that way, in the same way that it is kind of like refreshing to walk into the frozen section at a grocery store in the summertime, right? Where like you're in there for a little bit and it feels good, and then after a while you're like, I think I'm gonna get out of here a little bit because I'm starting to get a little bit cold. Not that you're gonna feel cold because of it, but like you can just kind of like bounce in and bounce out of this album. These songs are all ostensibly connected to like Love Lost or something like that, but it's not super important. But we'll jump around a bit.
Тысячная попытка, но твой язык непонятен и переводчик враг. Я так хочу просто чувствовать рядом, побыть моим домашним животным, или цветочком в кашке, или диваном, раз наша связь так испорчена.
Jump to a different track. We're gonna have a wildly different sound. This is probably one of my favorite tracks on the album. But Rudolf Strauss, I think, is just like a really good artist in general right now. So he's the two of them work together well. I don't remember if it's this track or the next one, Bon s knopkой. There's one of them that reminds me, like, and I'm positive they lifted the bass line out of Modest Mouse song, but no, I think this just has like that kind of post-punk atmosphere. Yeah. Which is also enjoyable. Kind of a lounge atmosphere too with the vocals. I gotta jump ahead. I swear to God, this is the one that reminds me of Modest Mouth. Just give me a second, because I have to be sure of that. There's like a specific rhythm that gets. Maybe it's track 6. I don't know. I didn't put it in my notes. So. Although you could say that it does have a little bit of Sufjan Stevens, like a la Illinois, that album of his. Yeah, no, this is not the Modest Mouse one. Never mind. Pretty sure. No, it does feel like Sufjan Stevens, though. This has got to be the Modest Mouse one. Yeah. I don't remember which Modest Mouse song. I think it's off the Lonesome Crowded West, but... There's like a specific one. Anyway, not to like hyperfixate on that, but like as you've seen as I've jumped around here, there's just like a bunch of different stuff going on musically. I'm listening for the Modest Mouse thing. I feel like I was hallucinating now. Anyway, it's an album that if you're a fan of the artist, you might not feel like you're getting an actual finalized product, because again, this is effectively a mixtape. But if you're not familiar with the artist, or if you just like the artist but you don't really have like a specific genre per se that you want to see her working in, then this is going to be a very good choice, because like it is musically all over the spectrum. That's the Modest Mouse reference. That's it. It's I wanna live in the city with no friends or family. I wanna look out the window of my color TV. I wanna. Oh, god damn it. All right. Okay, so I wasn't hallucinating. There was a Modest Mouse type of thing in there. That is the. God damn it! What is the name of the song there? From Modest Mouse, it is. I think it's not Truckers. I don't remember. It's straight up. It's off one of the earlier Modest Mouse albums. So, anyway, that's not really connected to the album. The album "Тревожный тип привязанности" is just a nice time. It's a smorgasbord of styles. Mirèle is there in the center of all of it. So, if you're okay with that ever-shifting collage of sound, then you're probably going to enjoy this album, because all of the songs are well done and well produced. So, all right, no, hold up, I gotta like, what is the maybe it's gotta be. All right, I'm just gonna move to the next album. I'm gonna keep looking at Modest Mouse while we do this. All right, so Gruppa Skryptonite is with their 4PN album, fronted by one of probably the bigger rappers here in Russia, Skryptonite. This is the side project for that artist that, as far as I can tell, just kind of exists for him to stretch his musical muscles and work outside of his main genre. With artists, these types of side projects tend to be a bit of a mixed bag, but Skryptonite is not a slouch. And here we get 20 tracks of just good indie music from a rapper. The music is laced through with electronic elements. Bass and guitar lines are kind of designed to make you want to get up and move around. The vocals wander into the realm of pop R&B. The album was announced via Skryptonite's Telegram channel with a screenshot of the album already available on Album Music. He just kind of surprise dropped it. The only negative to this is that there are tracks which probably feel like they should have been left on the cutting floor. Sorry, my tongue is swollen. So, but for a side project, right, you expect some level of the artist throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. And for the most part, I would say that most of the 20 tracks stick. This is just like a good album from an artist that you would not expect this from. The cover is really good. It's so abstract, and the ice type of thing in the middle of the summer. It's got like a nice. The Modest Mouse song is called A Different City, and it is off their album The Moon in Antarctica. But yeah. Yeah, A Different City. Wait, I don't know how you knew that. Okay. Good job. I enjoyed so much this album, I don't even remember which songs to jump around to. I guess we're just gonna jump around at random. it's just a pleasant album. Like, again, this feels like something I've heard before, but like I can't put my finger on it the same way that I could put my finger on Modest Mouse just a second ago. Yeah, like all those, like the backing electronics and everything feels like a product of the mid 2000s, early 2010s. Yeah, it's 20 tracks, and honestly, like, again, some of these are just like really short interludes. Oh, you looked up the lyric. Yeah, that makes sense. Some of them are interludes, and like, so you can, like, the second track is just kind of there. I don't know why it has the lightning bolt. I guess just because people listen to it, but Snickapod here, the 17th track, he actually released, I want to say last year already. Maybe it was earlier this year, but like, and like here we're into that, I guess, more pop, but it still has the indie effect to it. So like, this is very much Skryptonite's album, right? This is his side project. This is him doing the not rapper thing. Is this a mixtape? No. Is it a cohesive idea? No. But like, these 20 tracks right here, at the very least, like, even if you're not a fan of Skryptonite as a rapper, yeah, exactly. These aren't like 60-second tracks that are just like throw-offs. Like, these are ideas that have been shaped and molded into something. And like, even if you're not a fan of him as a rapper, like, this album, 4 p.m., shows the depth to which he as a musician can kind of stretch and work beyond the rap game. And I would suppose too, like, this is also a chance for him to kind of play around with some beats, and maybe like when he is in the studio, he comes up with some of these things and he's just like, yeah, it's not really gonna work for a rap song, but there's something there. And like, I don't know, I think there's something that should be applauded about an artist that is willing to kind of do that, especially one who has already found major success in a genre, and he's willing to just be like, you know, let's just go to the studio and do something with these other tracks. So, because like, there is a lot of hip hop energy here as well. It's throughout the album, but just a very nice album. You can put, it's an hour long. It clocks in at basically 60 minutes flat, all said and done. And it's just pleasant. It's just a very pleasant album. And I know that's not like necessarily something that is a selling point. Like, oh yeah, it's just a pleasant album. But for one that goes and experiments with so many different sounds, I feel like that is kind of a big deal when you're able to do it so well. So yeah, it is. And it is. It's just like, it's not something that's got a lot of drive and like it like, you know, but you could put this on at a house party. You could put this on while cleaning the house. You could put this on while cooking dinner. You could put this on while, I don't know, doing anything realistically. And it just kind of fits because it's just nice music. So. and it does drift all over the place too. So I can't remember which artist it reminds me of, but it's not really important. So yeah, that is the artist or the group Gruppa Skryptonite, and the album is 4 p.m. So if you're looking for something that's just like nice, good kind of indie pop with a lot of electronic energy to it, then this is absolutely an album that you'll have a good time with. But brings us to the last album, which is actually one that I just listened to this evening, and which I think, yeah, I think it deserves to be, because it is an album in a full-fledged. It's not it's cohesive. Slowcore, shoegaze, right? Probably one of the more popular rock genres these days. And while it would be interesting to explore why exactly shoegaze is so popular nowadays, that's not really what I'm here to do. I'm sure there are other YouTube channels that have done that. I'm just here to find artists and share them with you. And so Blankenberg, with their album Decisions, is one such artist. It's a group which got its start in Brno, and this is delicate bedroom pop shoegaze, which doesn't sound like it makes a lot of sense, but kind of let me get into it. The music here is a wall of soft noise. It's not really looking to overwhelm you so much as it is looking to just simply embrace you in a very soft embrace, right? Though there are some prickly moments in the sound, it's a bit like a woolen blanket fresh out of the dryer. Very warm, the type of thing you want to wrap around yourself, but there are going to be moments where it kind of pricks you a little bit. It's a little bit scratchy, it's a little bit itchy, it is a little bit uncomfortable from time to time. There is a shoegaze element here, let's be real. Always pops up on Thursdays. I have to look into that. So this is hazy music. I'm just going to go ahead and like kind of jump into it. What is I feel like the fourth track is a good one. This is hazy music that kind of feels like it's designed to trigger nostalgia for the archetypical summer that we have never actually experienced in earnest, but that we have all felt part of, right? The ideal summer that we have seen refracted a million times through pop culture while we sit locked away in our platonic caves, remembering our own heady, sun-kissed summer experiences. There is an ambiance, a nebulousness here in the sound that, like I said, is both prickly and welcoming. It transforms the music into an emotional palette. Regardless of what your current mood is, you will find that this music fits it. If you're a little bit depressed, you can find it will mold itself around you. If you're nostalgic, it will mold itself around you. If you are optimistic and upbeat, it's going to mold itself around you. Regardless of what you're feeling, like, this music is going to work. It's a musical Rorschach test in some sense, but it's not attempting to psychoanalyze you. It's, like I said, it's just attempting to wrap itself around you and give you space, while at the same time closing space off from around you. Also, the song titles. I feel like there's a lot of summer, like especially down here, Waiting for the Sun, There Was a Time, Escape, Together. Like, there feels like there's a lot of summer nostalgia here too. So Blankenberg has been around for a while too, since like 2017, I guess. But this is actually the first I've heard of them. They released a single earlier this year. And yeah, it's just like, Like, at times it is on the verge of ambient music, right? Or post-rock. The album artwork, I don't know if it's supposed to be a reference to Tame Impala, but it kind of feels like it, right? So many of the songs in this album feel like they would or could or will be used in television or film, right? Like at some sort of dramatic end scene moment, right? Like when there's some sort of cathartic release or some moment of realization, or just like the gang is like all reunited together again, like one of those types of things. It kind of feels like it's designed for that in its way, because it is this, like, those moments in storytelling are already distilled emotion, if you will, right? Distilled moments from our shared existence. And the music kind of fits that. I don't know. The nebulousness of it is ultimately what works well for it. It is definitely slow music though, right? So it does... These are tracks that, like, they're 5 minutes long typically, but it doesn't really feel like 5 minutes because it just takes, it's like a Mogwai style track, right? Where like by the time you reach the end, so much time has passed, but musically it has been kind of like growing and swelling and building into its own thing. I'll wrap it up with the first track, because this is obviously the introductory track. It's the one that's like supposed to. It is probably the softest track, but you might understand why I mentioned bedroom pop earlier too, because of it. Like, if Skryptonite, if Gruppa Skryptonite, if that last album, 4 p.m., is a pleasant album for everyday existence, for just like any sort of just regular situation that you would have come to in your life, this is a pleasant type of album for like all of the imagined and remembered moments of your existence. Like, that's kind of the vibe, I guess, right there, that I would say. Because there's something unreal about this, ethereal, obviously. So yeah, that is Decisions by Blankenberg. Obviously, it's probably going to sound a bit slow, but I would say that it is an album that is best to sort of put on and, like a warm blanket, sink into and really spend some time with. But that does it for the week. I'm going to switch back over there, And yeah, we had 13 albums. Tomorrow is the first day of August, so it's also Friday, so we're going to have a new wave of albums. There are some from July that I maybe will sneak into the live stream next week. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what comes out tomorrow. I think maybe Baby is tomorrow, which is an interesting one. We'll probably have a listen to that and talk about that regardless, if I remember correctly, if that is actually coming out tomorrow. But yeah, that's it for this week. I'll be back next Thursday. I hope by next Thursday my tongue will be not swollen because it's super annoying, and it's just really frustrating and kind of aggravating at the same time. But yeah, next Thursday I'll be back here, 10 p.m. Moscow time. I'll be back on Sunday evening at 9 p.m. Moscow time for the news. I think we're going. The weather has shifted a little bit. Yes. I'm always looking forward to new releases as well. I think we're going out of Moscow for the weekend. I'm not entirely sure because the weather has been shifting and we haven't really made up our mind yet. But I think regardless, I think we should be back on Sunday evening. So if you tune in for the news, I should be back Sunday evening at 9 p.m. And then I'm back Wednesday evening at 9 p.m. here for the midweek check-in as well. But yeah, everyone have a good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of the day it is. You all take care of yourselves. I will see you when I see you. And until then, I certainly hope that my tongue heals up. But yeah, until then, пока-пока. I'm going to hit the end stream button now because I don't remember exactly when it cuts off.